All right, so we're gonna get started with the lesson. Maury Yasharun going to give what's this, part 3? Okay, part 4. Okay, I'm hoping we are writing down and notes and taking it to heart and trying to do a self-evaluation as we listen to these lessons. And one of the parts we're going to start listening to is the rules. All right, so I'll let him do that part.
So, yeah, mic is on. Hallelujah. All right. See if I get myself together here. All right. Let's see if I can set it up to where I can see the time. So I don't want to go over time. I got to be time conscious. All right. So, in their generations, will you be found righteous in yours? Will you be found righteous in your generation? All right. So the rules. All right. Please keep your mic muted except when asking or answering a question. Use the mic to speak. Say again, use the mic to speak in the classroom. There's a feature on Zoom. Yes, it works. In the meeting room where you can raise your hand if you have a question. Please use that. All questions must be on topic. You have 60 seconds to ask or answer. If you pass the 60-second window, your mic will be muted for you. These rules are due to the time of the recordings of the lessons. These are live teachings. We must give them over enough time to complete the lesson. All right? As we go in, I'm going to go over this every week. I need you to get it because we're going to go past verse 8 in a minute. All right. Moses' song through the generations, right? Moses' song through the generations. They have dealt corruptly with him. They are no longer his children because they are blemished. They are crooked and twisted generation. Do you thus repay Yahuah, you foolish and senseless people? Is not he your father who created you, who made you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and he will show you, your elders and they will tell you. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, he divided mankind and he fixed the borders of the people according to the number of the sons of El. All right, let's remember that. Keep that in mind as we go forward. I need you all to be constantly referencing back this in your mind, stuff that we're going over. All right. Live with purpose. Live with purpose. Life is so short. One day you're a baby. Next thing you know, you're a teenager. Before you know it, you're a middle-aged person. And then before you know it, you have the sunset of your life. So Psalms 99 through 12 says, for all our days pass away under your wrath. Our years come to an end like a sigh. The days of our life are 70 years and perhaps 80 if we're strong. Even then, their span is only toil and trouble. They are gone soon, and we fly away. Who considers the power of your anger? Your wrath is as great as the fear that is due you. So teach us to count our days, that we may gain a wise heart. Right now, we're reading about people who lived like the days of trees. He said, once again, we will live as the days of trees. He said, his people will. Once again, Isaiah 65 and 22 says that. But while you're living in the time that you have in your generation, live with a purpose. And as we go forward, we're going to start seeing some things. And I remember I said I'm going to talk about why Noah cursed Canaan. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. And all the days of Noah's life were 950 years, and he died. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. And this is Genesis 10, it's known as the Table of Nations, right? And these are all the sons listed here on this table. And I would challenge you, for those who are Bible students, to look up each and every one of those names in your Bible, on your notebook, and see if you can see a message in it, or see if you can see the pattern in some of the things that you're going to see. But you notice there's a nation missing. But there's the seed of the nation. That was Shem. And from Abraham, and Abraham is the 10th generation from Noah. From Shem down to Terah, down to Abram. Because we're moving towards the making of Israel. And this is the seed of it all. That's where it starts at. And I want you to see that the time is passing. 350 years. That's a long time to us, right? Because we don't get past, we might get past 120. We might get to 120. We might, right? But most of us expiring, 90, 80, 65, 50, 40, 30, 20, 16, 10, newborn. Might not last that long. But in this new start, remember we're in a new start. This is a new creation. This is a new world. This is a fresh start for humanity, right? So he's still dealing with all of mankind. And they are the ones responsible for populating the whole earth. All right? A curse and a blessing. And Genesis 9:24. When Noah awoke from his wine, he knew what his youngest son had done to him. And what did we say that the word awoke was associated with? No? Right? He awakened from a dream. Every time we say that word, it's associated with waking from a dream. So he didn't just, we say he woke up from his wine, he had a drunken stoop. He got toe up from the floor up, fell asleep, and then woke up and just started cursing people, cursing and blessing. No reason, no rationale, no nothing. We all walking around trying to ponder, why is he cursing and blessing people? What did, it was Ham that went in the tent. Why is he cursing Canaan? Okay, we're going to figure that out in a little bit. But meanwhile, when you see the word awake, you see like with Genesis 28:16, and Jacob awoke out of his sleep, and he said, surely Yahuah is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful this place is. This is none other but the house of Elohim, and this is the gate of Shamayim, or the heavens. What place was this? What's the name of this place?
Luke's.
Somebody got a mic?
And he changed it to Bethel.
No. Yeah, you're right. Bethel. She was trying to get all the history in there. I got you. All right. Genesis 41:7, and we see Pharaoh, right? He's having his dream, and he says, and the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears, and Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. So it's telling me that Noah had a dream or a vision. He saw something. And when he woke up, he made a pronouncement based off of what he saw. he saw, right? Yeah, we don't know. But that's what I said. The Bible is a clue book, right? It's supposed to make you search out a matter, right? Not just, oh, yeah, and then you just make something up to fit on top of it, because that's what we do. You've heard a lot of theories, right? All right, he wakes up and he says, cursed be Canaan. Lowest of slaves shall he be to his brothers. That is some serious stuff, right? So this curse, this is not the regular curse. This is a pronouncement. This is a decree. This is a command. This is ara, right? To curse, to place a curse, to be cursed, under a curse. This is the same thing, because who is Noah at this time? What position does he hold? We went over this, right? He is the king, the priest, the prophet. He's the one that carries over from the old world to the new, right? And he is the one now overseeing everything that's happening. So everything that comes out of his mouth is a declaration, right? And we've seen those declarations before. We saw it in the garden with the serpent. The Most High tells him, because you have done this, cursed are you, right? It didn't just go away. Snake still crawling on the ground, eating the dust of the earth. Of course, there's more to that. He said it again to the man. And to the man he said, because you've listened, cursed to the ground because of you, right? So this is the same type of proclamation. It's the same word. All right, and we say it again when he told it to Cain. He said, and you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive the blood of your brother's blood. All right, so he pronounced his curses. This is like the very first generational curse in the new world. But he also pronounced a blessing. He said, blessed be Yahuah my Elohim, be Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. Why is he saying this? May Elohim make space for Japheth, and let him live in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. Oh man. Now, if you was his daddy, how would you feel? Hearing somebody, your father's cursing your son, and you don't have a clue why he's saying this. Why are you telling my son he's cursed and he's going to be everybody else's slave? Right? How would you feel? Well, we have a clue. He said, and Ham knew that his father cursed his youngest son, and it was disgusting to him that he had cursed his son. Now, it's because of what he did. Remember how he disrespected his father and made mockery of him, right? So he's not going to curse him, but Noah saw something in this dream that he had. And so he's pronouncing something that didn't happen yet, but that will happen, right? All right. And so Ham is upset, and he separates from his father, he and his sons, and they kind of move away from everybody else. Say, well, I'm not going to stay here in the encampment with you. I'm going to go build me a city over here. All right. Jubilee 7:13. All right. Now we're going to go to the Qumran scrolls, Genesis Apocryphon. And this is a very fragmented scroll. But when I was led to it, because I have to say that, it's not like I know everything that's in the Qumran scrolls, or that and I had to read it very carefully for me to even kind of understand. I said, wait a minute, I see something here, and I wanted to share it with you. For you, those that want to study the scriptures in its entirety, this is some history for you. So 1Q20, 12, 13 through 17. He says, then I began to cultivate the earth together with my sons, and I planted a large vineyard on Mount Lebar. When 4 years had passed, it produced wine for me. It breaks off all. And when the first festival came, so they was keeping some type of feasts or festivals. Prior to Israel being created. So this is not something that was just fresh on the spot, made up. This was something that was carrying over. On the first day of that festival, which is the first month. What happens in the first month? Okay, let's just put a pin in that. And it breaks off. That belongs to my vineyard. And I opened the vessel and began to drink it on the first day of the 5th year since planting. We talked about that before. And on this day, I invited my sons, grandsons, and our wives and our daughters, and we gathered together and we went to the place of the altar. There's a place where when they came off the ark, you remember, made an altar, all right? So it's a sacred place. And I was blessing the Lord of Shamayim, heaven, Elohim Most High, the great set-apart one, for he rescued us from destruction. Now, I'm going to skip down a bunch of chapters, right? I'm going to jump down to 15:21 to let you know this is Noah talking. He's wrote a letter. If you go up a little bit, he wrote a letter to Shem, and he's recalling everything. And so Noah says, then I woke up from my sleep, and the sun in it breaks off. So something was going on there. Let's keep going. 1Q20, 14, 19. Broken. Give heed and listen. The great cedar is you. So it's a lot of fragmentation there, but he's telling him, he's getting an explanation of this dream that he had. He said, the great cedar is you, standing before you in the dream. So he's telling you he had a dream, right? On the summit of the mountains. Breaks off, truth. The shoot that emerges from it grew to a great height, represents the 3 sons, right? His sons are going to become great nations, right? And in that, you saw the first shoot as attached to the stump of the cedar and the wood from it. Of course, it trails off. And all of his days he shall not separate from you, and his progeny shall call themselves by your name. It trails off, and shall emerge as a righteous planting for all. So this sounds like the language of Israel to me, right? Well, let's see what Jubilees. We got to go to Jubilees and say something. He says in Jubilees 7:16, and Shem dwelt with his father Noah and built a city near his father on the mountain. And he also named it after his wife, right? So what did Ham do? What did Ham do? What did Ham do? He moved away. But what did Shem do? He stayed. All right. Let's keep reading. See if we can unpack this a little bit more. He says, surely existing forever. It's trailing off. I'm telling you, it's fragmented. In that you saw the shoot attached to the stump of it. Breaks off. And in that you saw the other shoot. He talks about another shoot. Some of its branches intertwine with the branches of the first shoot. 2 sons. All right. From the land to the north. And in that you saw some of the branches intertwine with those of the first shoot. So let's go see. We got something to go along with that. Genesis 9:20. And he said also, blessed be Elohim, Yahuah Elohim, my Elohim be Shem, and let Canaan be his slave, and may Elohim make space for Japheth. And let him live in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. So we're going to get to the Canaan part in a minute, but I wanted to show you that he's having this dream, right? We don't have all the information. I can't say I have every little detail in there, but that was enough for me to say, wait a minute, I see this intertwining happen. I would love for it to have been whole, and I pray that Yahuah unveil something, But We're going to go to Jubilees 8:15. All right. And disclaimer, this graphic is for illustrations only. It's not a true representation. Okay, so don't looking at this as if it's like totally accurate. It's not accurate. All right. Jubilee 8:15. And it is turned from there towards the south. Now we're talking about the portion that Shem received, the land. I need to go through this land deed, this land graph, what was going on. This land is very important. This land is not just arbitrary. This land is specific because it was something going on in that dream that he saw, and this is connected to it. And as it turns from there towards the south and towards the mouth of the great sea on the shores of the waters, and it goes on towards the west of Afra, which is Africa, right? What are they talking about? Afra. And it goes on until it draws near the waters of the river Gihon, not the springs of Gihon, river, towards the south waters of Gihon, towards the shore of the river. And it goes on towards the east until it draws near to the Garden of Eden towards its south. To the south and east of the land of Eden. This is very important. This, why Eden? Why is it to this particular side? Why is this situated the way it is? We're going to get to it. All right. And it turns to the east and it comes forth until it draws near towards the last of the mount whose name is Arafah. And it goes down toward the shore of the mouth of the Tina River. Keep that, I highlighted that for a reason because you're going to see the connection. It's Tina River. This portion was assigned by Lot to Shem and his sons to possess it forever for his generations, forever. All right? Back to the Qumran. It said the second lot, because it breaks off, it's trailing on. The second lot for an everlasting inheritance fell to Shem and to his sons. The waters of the river Tina empties something, something, and the river, until the river Tina, something, something, to the great salt sea. Is there a great salt sea over there? Okay, all right. And this boundary went as a spring from the inlet. And then he goes on to say in 17:7, let's get down to the chapter, and my son Shem divided his inheritance among his sons. So they say, okay, this is what you're going to do. We're going to have this. You're going to do this. They haven't moved anywhere yet. There's a lot of history that we haven't covered yet. This is the beginning of a lot of world history that we're talking about right now. This is not, I told you the Bible is a snapshot of things, of history. It's just quick. It gives you clues, but then it's going to give you everything. You have to go search it out. All right? He says he divides the son, and the first lot fell to Elam in the north along the Tigris River until it reached to the Red Sea in the north and to the river's source and the turning to the west towards Ashur's portion and to the portion where he later met with the Tigris, and after him, it just trails off. There's so much there that I wish we could fill in the blanks, but we can't. You don't have all that information yet. All right? We have this. Clues. These are clues. They say the bay lying between them, the headwater in the spring as far as the, what? River Tina, another landmark, and the riverhead, and all the land of the north until it reached and breaks off. And this portion crossed the waters of the Mediterranean until it reached. And then he's saying, this is the appointed lot to Japheth and his sons as an everlasting inheritance. So these are boundaries, and you see where the boundaries, and Tina is a boundary between Japheth and Shem. All right. Let's continue on. Let's talk about Ham. Ham, Jubilee 8:22. And to Ham he was assigned the second portion towards the other side of the Gihon, towards the south on the right of the garden. And it goes on towards the south, and it goes on along all of the mountains of fire, and his portion goes on towards the west, towards the Alt Sea. Well, that's the Atlantic Ocean. And it goes on west until it draws near the Mauk Sea, to which nothing descends without perishing. And it goes on, and it goes forth in the north to the end of Geder. And it goes further or forth along the edge of the water of the sea into the waters of the Great Sea, until it approaches the River Gihon. So this is encompassing a large area, including all of that land and the water and the islands. All right. And it goes on, and it approaches the right side of the Garden of Eden. And they say, and this land went forth to Ham as a portion, right? As a portion, which he will possess forever for himself and for his children and their generations forever. So these things were allotted to them from whom? Noah. Thank you for the microphone. I got you. All right. Let's continue on. So above it says, talks about Japheth, but it says, but it's cold. His land is cold. It's north. It's in the north area, and it's cold up there. You know, the Caucasus, as they say. And it's cold in that area, you know, Russian, you know. And the land of Ham is hot. Yeah, right, it's hot. But the land of Shem, right? Shem is not hot or cold because it's mixed with cold and heat. So it's like a perfect temperature. You ever been, well, for those that have been to Israel, it's perfect. It's comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Not too hot, not too cold. It's got a perfect balance. All right. But something, like I said, I want to go back. And Ham divided his land among his sons. And the first portion was assigned to Cush towards the east, and west of him for Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, and west of him for Put, and the west of him, further west, Canaan. And towards the west was the sea, right? So there's a lot of land over there that we don't, you know, how the land masses are connected. But there were land bridges. We know that. Go ahead.
So I know you said the map is not for, it's just really just graphics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just making sure I understand, because it went all the way to the Atlantic. It went all the way up top to north, down south. So, I mean, I've heard someone say that, well, that land that you're talking about is the promised land. That's it.
Oh, you're saying right here? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I haven't come across it. I'm still searching.
Okay.
I'm still searching. I didn't see that in the scriptures, or any other writings that I've found, but I'm still looking. Don't worry. I'm a student of the scriptures. I'm trying to, bear with me. All right. So something happened. Sworn by an oath. Jubilee 9:14. And thus the sons of Noah divided for their children before Noah their father. Right? He divided the land before Noah their father. And he made them, Noah made them all swear an oath to curse each and every one who desires to seize a portion that did not come in his lot. And they all said, so be it, and so be it unto them and to their sons forever in their generation until the day of judgment. So they knew about a judgment, right? The judgment in which Yahuah Elohim will judge them with the sword and with fire on account of all the evil of the pollution of their errors, which have filled the earth with sin and pollution, fornication, and transgressions. So that was an oath that was sworn that the families took. I'm not going to take your land. You're going to live on your land. We all have our parts. We're not going to fight amongst ourselves this land. But they're all still in the land of Shinar. They're still there, right? Around the Mount Ararat, right? Mount Lubar. They're still in that same area. Then Noah dies. The death of Noah. Jubilees 10:15. And Noah slept with his fathers, and was buried on Mount Libar in the land of Ararat. 950 years he completed his life, 19 jubilees in 2 weeks and 5 years. So you know what happens when mama dies, daddy dies. Huh? There was the peacekeepers. They was the one that had the authority. So there had to be a new leader arise, and we're going to talk about that leader that arose next week. There's a leader that filled the vacuum. All right. Canaan breaks the oath. Huh? All right, Jubilee 10:27. And in the 4th week, in the 1st year, in the beginning of it, in the 34th Jubilee. You know, I thought I was going to be longer than this, but it's not. I cut a lot of stuff out, and I should have probably left it in. But yeah. Jubilee, they were scattered from the land of Shinar, right? So we see, I'm just going to pick it up here because we're going to get into it later. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. So Yahuah scattered them, let's jump down to verse 8, and Yahuah scattered them abroad from all over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore it was called Babel, because there Yahuah confused the languages of the earth, and from there Yahuah scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. But they already knew where their allotted places were, right? They already knew where their allotted places were. And Ham and his sons went into the land which was his possession after the scattering, which he found in his portion in the land of the south. But Canaan saw the land of Lebanon as far as the river of Egypt was very good. Oh, Slika. You're right. All right, here we go. And Ham and his sons went into the land which was his possession, which he found in his portion in the land of the south. But Canaan saw that the land of Lebanon, as far as the river Egypt, was very good. He's walking in, he's traveling through. He's like, wait a minute, I like this. This is nice. And he said, and he did not go into the land of his inheritance towards the west, that is the sea, but he dwelt in the land of Lebanon towards eastward and westward from the banks of the Jordan and from the sea, the shores of the sea. Huh? So this is what Noah saw. He knew this was going to happen. The same disrespect that his son showed him is the same disrespect that he's shown his father, the same insolence, same rebellion, right? Cursed be Canaan. And Ham, his father, and Cush and Mizraim, his brothers said to him, they come to him, they pleading with him, you have dwelt in the land which is not yours, nor did it come forth to us by lot. Do not do this. Do not do this. Because if you do this, you and your children will fall in the land and be cursed with sedition. What is sedition? I know it's not a word we use all the time. Anybody? No? Okay. Rebellion. Yes. Because by sedition you have dwelt, and by sedition your children will fall, and you will be what? Uprooted forever. He said, do not dwell in the land, in the dwellings of Shem, because it came to Shem and his sons by lot. Of course, he ain't listening. Huh? Whatever, man. That old man's gone now. I can do whatever I want to do. Cursed be Canaan. You are cursed, and you will be cursed more than all the sons of Noah by the curse which we swore with an oath before the set-apart judge and before Noah our father. Cursed be Canaan. This is what he saw in the dream. He saw him doing this. And so when he comes to, he's like, cursed be Canaan. Man, what are you talking about? This right here. All right. So the question is, did I finish that? I don't think I did. I don't think I finished it. Okay. And he would not listen. Of course he wouldn't. He wouldn't listen to them, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon from Hamath, I want you to keep that in mind, to the entrance of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. And therefore the land is called Canaan. Nobody fought over it. Nobody argued about it. He just took what he wanted. Shem was like, okay, I got all this land over here. I'm good, go fight him over that. He took it. The Most High said, oh no, right? So we say, why is this land important? Why is this land important? Let's listen here. Because the Most High allocated it for a specific purpose to a specific people, all right? Because he was dealing with all of humanity, and that was his land. Okay. And Noah rejoiced because his portion was assigned to Shem and for his sons. And he remembered everything which he spoke with his mouth concerning him, because he said, may Yahuah Elohim of Shem be blessed, and may Yahuah dwell in the dwellings place of Shem. But that land was Yahuah's dwelling. We'll see. And he knew that the Garden of Eden was the most set apart place, commonly called the holies of holies. That's what it represented. And the dwelling of Yahuah. And Mount Sinai was in the midst of the desert. And Mount Zion was in the midst of the navel of the earth. The three of these were created as set apart places, one facing the other. And he blessed the Elohim of the mighty ones, who placed in his mouth the words of Yahuah, and also the eternal Elohim. He says Yahuah gave him those words to speak in the dream, right? You see. And he knew that a blessed portion and a blessing had reached Shem and his sons for eternal generations. And all the land of Eden, and all the land of the Red Sea, and all the land of East India, along the Red Sea and its mountains, and all the land of Basar, and all the land of Lebanon, and the islands of Kephator, and all of the Mount of Sinir, and Amanus, and Mount Asor, which is north, and all the land of Elam, and Ashur, and Babel, and Sus, and Media, and all the mountains of Ararat, and all the region beyond the sea, which is beyond Mount Asar, which is towards the north, the blessed and wide land, and every one which is good. So this was Yahuwah's land he designated for a specific thing. He told him who it was for and who it was to be allotted to. All right, so let's see future-wise. We're going to fast forward to the future a little bit. All right, this is about geographic. This is something going on beyond just Canaan being rebellious. There's an influence behind his rebellion. Yes, there's an influence behind his rebellion. We're going to get to that later. We're not going to get it today. I cut a lot of stuff out, like I said. I thought I was going to be a little longer than this. All right. So, taking back what the enemy stole. So, Numbers 34:1. And Yahuah spoke to Moses, saying, Yahuah spoke to Moses, saying, command the people of Israel and say to them, when you enter the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall to you for an inheritance, the land of Canaan as defined by its borders. Your south side shall be from the wilderness of Zin along Edom, and your southern border shall run from the end of the Salt Sea on the east, and your border shall turn south and ascend to the Akrabim and across to the Zin, and its limit shall be the south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it shall go on to Hazar Adar and pass along Azman. All right. So all these borders, we read some of these borders here, right? Seen them in the past. And the border shall turn from Azman to the brook of Egypt, and its limit shall be at the sea. So it stops. And in the western border you shall have the great sea and its coast, and this shall be your western border, Mediterranean. And this shall be your northern border. From the great sea you shall draw a line to Mount Hor. We're going to talk about that Mount Hor. And Mount Hor shall be drawn a line to Lebo or Lebanon Hamath, right? And the limits of the border shall be at Zedad. Then the border then shall extend to Sephron, and its limit shall be at Hazar Enan. This shall be your northern border. So when we get to Israel, it's a reason why they had to go back and get this land. He said, he told Abraham, what did he tell him when he told him to walk across this land?
He had told Abraham, go up to the mountaintop and look, this is your land.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what he told Abraham?
Yeah, this is what he told Abraham, to look at the land because it was going to be the nation's land.
Okay. He said, every place that you put your foot, I'm giving it to you. It was already designated. Right? CANAAN was there illegally. And then he did all kinds of abominations in the land, desecrating what? The sanctity of this sacred set-apart place, Kodesh Kodashim. And he's like, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. So that was a reason why he created, going back to Moriland's reason he created Israel. He's going back and he's going to get all this land. So with that, like I said, I cut a lot of stuff out. Thought it was going to be a little bit longer, but with that, are there any questions? I hope that sticks. I hope I said something to help you understand it a little better. Well, no questions? Baruch Hashem Yahuah. Baruch Hashem Yahuah. Let us stand.